This video was sponsored by Enhance, Elbilmek, a better road planner, Kempower and bilkomponenter. Yo, what's up? Today we're gonna test the new Skoda Enyaq Coupé. It has a new facelift front here, see? Oh yeah. And they actually improved the drag coefficient. It's 0.224 something. It's better than before, more efficient than before. According to EV database, it's 1 watt-hour per kilometer lower consumption. But we still have 21-inch wheels, summer tires, 235, 45, 21 in the front, and then I think it was 255 in back here. Pirelli Scorpio, I think it's called. Let me see. You see it here, 255, yeah, 40, 21 rear. Enyaq Sportline. This is the 85X, so it's over there. It has the ABRP 550 rear motor. It should be good, right? And then, okay, quite spacious car. Here's the in the front. I cannot see any difference here though inside. It's more like external. And then, okay, some minor changes like the ABRP 5 motor, ABRP 550 motor. Interface seems to be the same as before. Wait, I could have sworn that I asked to stop the climate control, but then they reset again, restarted. But okay, we tried to go to 100%, and then in car scanner, interesting, according to EV database again, I checked, it's supposed to be the old 82 kilowatt hour battery with 77 kilowatt hour net capacity. Car scanner reports 77 net capacity at 100%. Well, it's 98 here, but it's 100% here, see? So, do we actually have the old battery? And it supports 175 kilowatt only, not 185 like you get in the ID7 or the Ford Explorer or the Capri. Why did we get the old battery here in the Skoda? That is a disadvantage. We're going to, of course, double check all this. So I will get ready now. We will drive. Let's see if we go to home here. Okay, go to the map. We're going to drive the... Wait, this is always confusing. We have to go here first and then switch over to north. And then, okay, let's see if we can see anything there. There, okay. I'm gonna take the north loop here, right here, and there's always some road works nowadays here. They're setting up some street lights and some middle dividers, or replacing the middle dividers. So there's some slowdown here. So we're gonna start over that Tangen. All right, let's go. All right, let's check the weight first. Front axle, 1,160. Okay. The whole car, 2,340, just like the previous Enyaq Coupé. All right, no change there. Yeah, you see, this is what. No, that is illegal. No, don't do that. If the police catches you, it's gonna be fat, juicy fine plus pricks on you also. But I was gonna say that this is why I don't want to do the test here, because we have to drive kind of slow. Yeah, 60 zone over here. So normally do the 90 or 120 on this stretch. Okay, we're now at the Ioniq Innlandsporten Tangen. We're gonna start and end up here. I will also do a charging test after the consumption test. So today, maybe not the best weather, kind of cold, slightly damp on the road. But whatever, we can't change the weather. So yeah, here see another view from here. Maybe it's brighter here, or well, it's just cloudy or foggy. But yeah, I think I like some of the other colors better. That green, that neon green, almost nicer. But okay, this is still some, I don't know what's called again, tactical green, military green. Yeah. So we just have to reset the trip. We're down to 81%. We're gonna go all the way to Rudshøgda and back again. And then we see, you know, this car was the best in the rolling test or the coasting test down here. But the day is not that hot, only 7 degrees Celsius. We'll see how well it'll do it then, huh? Well, I'm gonna start with a 90 test first. So we cruise at 93 on the speedo to match 90 GPS speed. This is quite common with most cars. Yeah, so with that error I got with a Mercedes, Geländewagen, that was quite high. That was 96 something for 90 GPS speed. Right, consumption is a bit high, just some initial burst, plus that we are uphill in a higher elevation than before. So the road here is dry-ish. Yeah, it was a bit wet earlier, so, and then 7.5 degrees over here. Yeah, brace yourself, winter is coming. But yeah, I need to point out again that the instrument cluster is freaking tiny, man. And just look at that bezel around the screen. The screen, it's tiny. Could have fit a slightly bigger screen here, but no. This screen also appears to be kind of small compared to, for example, the ID7, which is larger. So, well, I wonder what they did upgrade here. Nowadays, I feel like other car manufacturers, especially Chinese, they offer you a bigger screen, which is better because then you can have more shortcut keys or more quick keys for various things. And here there are, okay, some physical buttons that might make up for the lack of screen size, though. When it comes to comfort, well, it's nice and comfy here. This car is not equipped with the DCC, only adjustable dampers. And also, well, the car doesn't have auto steer even, or they call it pilot travel. Wait, is it travel assist, pilot assist, something? It just has adaptive cruise control, so you have to pay extra. But I mean, this ain't no poor man's car. So in this price range, I would expect auto steer to be standard, but no. So small minus there. When it comes to road noise, okay, we have 21-inch wheels. They're kind of low-ish profile, 40 profile. But I feel like could be better. Nowadays, other cars, they get better and better soundproofing as they come up with a new model or a new generation, or like Tesla, or like Ioniq, Highland, or also the Chinese cars. So here, I feel like the development of the Skoda Enyaq has been stagnated a bit. I've been testing various Enyaqs over the years, and I feel like this 2025 model doesn't offer that much more improvement. Well, let's try the coasting test. Just wait for the battery power to go to 0. Go like there. Okay. There. Neutral. So over here should be not much wind, but I see it's 7 degrees Celsius outside, so not ideal. But we are on summer tires at least, not winter tires. Okay, we're gonna hunker down, try to get some drafting behind this truck. We change lane as late as possible. Oh, okay. I think we should change lane now. Okay. Go. Will we ever be able to hit those crazy speeds and the awesome coasting we had? I wonder if we had 25 degrees Celsius and tailwind back then when we set the speeds, the records. Let's see today. When it's cold outside, then it doesn't go that fast. Plus that, okay, the road surface has been getting slightly worse over the years as the asphalt wears down. So it's not as smooth anymore, which means that the rolling resistance might have increased for the past 3 years or so since I tested the Enyaq Coupé. I wonder if it's that lime green. I mean, still coasting, okay, it's not over yet. Come on. Yeah, look at this. Slightly improved aerodynamics, right? Well, I mean, it's one step in the right direction. If I have to choose between better aerodynamics or slightly bigger battery, I'll take better efficiency. Because remember that efficiency trumps everything else. Yes, Trump. Okay, there. All right, that's it. Here. Okay, so that was actually worse than before. I remember that the all with better weather managed to roll like over here somewhere, maybe. Yeah. Okay. So now you guys see that in more challenging conditions, then even the best car I got earlier does not get that far. So which means that the other cars I tested before, they were actually doing it also quite well. Yeah. And it's not something unique with this Enyaq versus the other cars we tested. They are roughly the same when it comes to efficiency and so on. We just turned around at Rudshøgda. Now we're heading back. This is Brumunddal, yeah, the wooden tower, whatever you call it. Europe's tallest wooden structure. Yeah, it's a hotel over there. But yeah, so far we can see it here. We can see it here. 158 watt-hour per kilometer. Very nice. I think it's roughly on par with the Tesla Model Y Performance we tried recently. That was even on wet surface. All right, the consumption was freaking tiny. 163 watt-hour per kilometer. That is roughly on par with Tesla, which is considered quite good. But what about the 120 test? All right, this time we have to cruise at 123 to match 120 GPS speed. We'll probably not drive all the way to Rudshøgda. Just drive a shorter loop, maybe to Hamar here and then back again. All right, this time was 218 watt-hour per kilometer. Yeah, it counts when we're stationary. Well, let's count 219 then, right? It's part of the trip, isn't it? No, but I believe that once you put the car in park, then it should stop counting. So, and also, I measured that this car has 0.6% underporting. So that means that the consumption is actually slightly lower than 218. Right on par with Model Y Performance. Okay, but now I need to go deep, or at least lower, maybe not too deep. I'm at 47%, so if we go to here, go to optimize, see that it would take 23 minutes to get the 120 kilowatt. Okay, maximum is 175, right? We need to test that. Okay, do we start the battery heating now or do we wait? I might as well start it now. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's see. We're supposed to have 285 horsepower. I'm not sure how many kilowatt that is. 220-ish. Let me check here. Battery is at 46%. Okay, let's floor it. We get 237-ish. Okay. Well, I guess if you want more power, you have to get a Chinese car or pay more and get the RS or whatever it's called, a more powerful version. Well, we're done with the test. We're now at Ioniq, and if you look here, we drove 326.2 kilometers, and then the consumption was 208 watt-hour per kilometer since we charged. And then 10% left, or more accurately, we can see here in car scanner, we have 7.9 kilowatt hour left. So that is 75.7 kilowatt hour net capacity. So this is definitely not the upgraded 84 kilowatt hour battery like in the ID7 or Ford Explorer. And if we go here now, the car claims only 156 kilowatt. Well, it's just optimum rapid charging capability reach, and then the battery temperature should be good enough, 25.5 to 28 degrees Celsius. Well, let's plug in and see what we get then. Well, we're back home. So the test today shows that we have roughly the same range as the Model Y Performance on the wet. So I think Model Y Performance should be slightly better if it was dry. But yeah, no improvement there in the battery capacity compared to the old. Okay, it was tested on higher temperature, and the consumption was lower naturally. But I guess if the temperature would be 21 degrees Celsius today, it should be just slightly better then. So, well, a small improvement there, but is it worth it compared to all the competitors that had been improving over the years? And there's a bunch of Chinese cars also on the market. But okay, if you don't want Chinese, then maybe at least some of the other faster charging batteries and bigger capacity batteries from MEB would be better, right? But I mean, at least it's efficient if you go for the Volkswagen ID4, it's still kind of boxy compared to the Skoda Enyaq Coupé. Well, ID5, sorry, ID5, of course. So in that regard, the Skoda is still better. So yeah, I'm not gonna say it, but the efficiency, just, you know, it still matters. Yes. So that's gonna be for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching, and talk to you later.